Hello again, my name's Paul Morrison, and it's great to be having these conversations in conjunction with creating communities called Stronger Together. And we're speaking to a bunch of leaders and professionals in the community, trying to glean some wisdom as we navigate these tricky days of COVID-19. Joining us again today is one of the founding owners of Creating Communities. It's Donna Shepherd. Hello, Donna.
Hello, Paul.
Good to have you. Now, as a woman, as a business owner, what are some of the fears and anxieties that you are facing and perhaps even your staff at the moment?
I have to, you know, when this all started emerging, it reminded me of back in the global financial crisis days. It's only 12 years ago that happened, and I remember at that time thinking the world was over for us as a business. And it was about a couple of months after the worst of that hit that we stood up in front of our staff at a Christmas party, and we'd asked them all to invite their families, which is what we normally do, and looked across this sea of people. I mean, we're only 20 people, but when you add families into that, there's a lot of people in the room, and we felt completely responsible for this whole team. And so I guess the fear is, you think, how are we going to keep these lives that we have some responsibility for going? And it's not just the lives of the 20 people here, but it's their whole families as well. So that's definitely the first fear that hit me when this was all unfurling.
What do you think in terms of some of your staff? What's your feel for some of, you know, their responses and how they're coping?
Well, you know, our team's amazing.
I've heard so many people say that, and interesting. The amount of people say you find out what is in people, but people are so proud of their good people at the moment.
Yeah, we're really proud of our people. They just have shown such heart and courage and guts, you know, during this. And so it took us probably about 48 hours before we all knew that there was something awful happening in China, didn't we, for a few months. And then I think it wasn't until it really hit, started to hit in other countries, and that we could see that this was really unfurling at a rate that was pretty much unstoppable, that then we started realising that actually this was something that we were all going to be confronting. And then government restrictions just started, and then we knew actually business was completely changing. And so we took about 48 hours, I think, when we first discovered that we were in for a pretty crazy ride, to work out how we were going to respond. And I think what we tried to first do was stop the thinking about fear, because that's just unhelpful. So all that stuff about how we're going to keep everyone funded through this, we needed to go, yep, that's really important to us, but we have to put that down for the moment, because we've actually got to focus on how we're going to get through this. And I'm a great believer in flipping the problem. So if you've got a problem and it feels like it's coming at you, how do you take a different perspective on it? And ideally, how can you turn it on its head?
Create an opportunity.
Exactly right. And we're a business that's all about bringing people together. So we bring people together, and we're shaking hands with people all the time, and we're engaging with people all the time. It's about
creating communities.
That's it, you know, it's real time being together, having conversations, having tough conversations and optimistic conversations. And so at first glance you go, well, you're done, you know, as a business, you're done. But as we started thinking about it, and what I think crises like this can help us all to do, is to get really clear on our purpose. And our purpose isn't about being in the same room together, although we really love doing that. Our purpose is actually about helping communities to thrive and helping individuals in those communities to do really well as well. And so you don't need to be in the same room to do that. The other thing is, so we needed to wrap our heads around how we could flip that problem. And then, of course, we had all our clients who we knew would be doing it really tough as well. Some of whom would be doing it so tough that it would be hard to get through it, and that there'd be others that are looking for solutions. So how could we help all of them with that solution? So that's what we had to kind of turn around in 48 hours. So that's what we did. We just looked at how can we come at this from a different perspective. And what we realised about COVID-19, and I think this has been borne out through the way the community's responded to it over the last month or so in particular, and before that, has been you've seen people wanting to almost defy the odds and say, this thing might be stopping us from being in the same room together, but we're going to find other ways that are really creative to support one another. You can see the community just aching to want to come together.
Reconnect.
Yeah, and that's almost more important now than it ever was. And that's what we think the amazing opportunity is in this, is what would it be like if we use this time as a community, as communities around the world, when we've got a virus that's asking us to distance ourselves from one another, what would it be like for us all to flip that and go, no, we're going to stare you in the face and we are actually going to become stronger as a community together and find new ways of connecting with one another and really start working out what it is that is important to us about being in community. I was speaking to someone on the phone last night who lives and works in the UK, and he said there was about a week ago or so, there was a bit of a movement in London for people to come out to the front of their apartments or their block or whatever, and to, at a certain time, they were all applauding their people that were working in the emergency services as a show of support. And he said to me, you know, I went to the front of my property and I met a neighbour that I had never met before. And he said, and then the next thing that really struck me in that moment was I could hear everyone up and down the street clapping. Normally you wouldn't be able to hear it because of the traffic and the aeroplanes overhead. And so here they are actually hearing the sound of community, and it's impacting all of them and making them feel like they are together. So powerful, isn't it?
That is amazing, and people will remember that. You know, it's visceral. It's there happening in real time.
They'll remember that. And next time they go back indoors to be by themselves and maybe feel alone, there'll be a part of them that remembers, actually, no, I'm connected to that person next door and that person right down the street that was clapping as well. And we actually all want the same thing. We want to say thank you to these amazing people that are doing this great work.
That's so good. So would you say, I mean, obviously your business, you know, you had the opportunity to be quite agile in this climate, but your advice, you know, a tip to business communities out there is to look at what they are doing and how they can create opportunity in the midst of this time?
Yeah, absolutely. So how can that's another thing to flip, isn't it? We kind of often, as businesses, are thinking, what can I get out of this opportunity? I reckon the thing to think about is, how can I serve the community and those around me at the moment?
Meet a need.
Yeah, meet the need. And there's plenty of needs out there. And even if my business has been closed down because of health concerns or whatever, how can I still be meeting the need? What's core to my purpose? Like a dentist, for instance. How can I help people, educate people about their general health and well-being, you know, or a coffee shop? Well, they're still open at the moment, but how can I help people? Is my business really just about serving coffee, or is it something deeper than that?
It's interesting because we've heard a number of people say on a personal front, the way to stay healthy is to don't focus on yourself or to the needs of others. But you're saying corporately and in a business, well, we can do exactly the same thing.
Absolutely.
Same ethos.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Donna. It's great to chat to you.
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks for joining us again, having some great conversations. You can check them out, Stronger Together. Check them out on your Creating Communities platform. We look forward to talking to you then. Till then, stay safe. And as we've heard again, look out for the needs of others. Remember to follow the government's advice on COVID-19, taking care of yourself and your loved ones. And don't forget, we are stronger together.